Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Maddie Pravatsky, and I am doing debate number 4. And I am arguing that the U.S. military should have a presence in the Middle East. So to start out, I want to kind of highlight the historical significance of the Middle East to understand why the U.S. would want to have any sort of stake in that region to begin with. So first, the Middle East has quite a religious significance. So the origin of first civilizations and major monotheist faiths, such as Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, all really birthed in the Middle East. And so billions of people really believe that a transcendental, unique arbiter over mankind, a God, has made regions in the Middle East very special and holy and sacred. And so beyond just very tangible, scientific, concrete reasons for why this region is important, there's this large chunk and large population of our world that believe that there is a religious significance here. And because of that, the rest of the world also kind of believes that there is a significance there, regardless of their faith. And so, secondly, it's a connecting point between Europe, Africa, and Asia. So, of course, trade and other relations that can exist there because of its location. And third, resources. So, the Middle East has a very diverse terrain, and specifically oil, which is what really brought the U.S. over to the Middle East to begin with and form those relations. And one author in analyzing the Middle East importance said that it's not silly to think that whoever controls the Middle East controls the world, which might be a bit of a hyperbole, but recognizing that it's seen that the U.S. should have big interest in being involved in the Middle East. And so my main argument is that the Middle East has invaluable resources and connections that directly affect the U.S. and indirectly affect the U.S. And so to ensure access and connections to these resources, the U.S. needs to be present militarily in the Middle East. And so secondly, I want to really understand what the purpose of the military is. And so the doctrine for the armed forces of the U.S. defines or states that the purpose of the military is to advance and defend U.S. values, interests, and objectives. And so the purpose of the military is not to kill. The purpose is solely to advance and defend U.S. values, interests, and objectives wherever the military is present at. And so I want to just highlight that also. So that leads us into 4 reasons why the U.S. military presence is key in the Middle East. So first is terrorism. So although Al-Qaeda and ISIS are currently under control and or seemingly under control, there are still people that are motivated by the jihadist movement to perform acts of terrorism. And yes, these people can live anywhere in the world, but historically and what we've seen, they prominently come out of the Middle East and have leaders and roots there. And so if the U.S. military has a presence there in the Middle East, then there is less likelihood of these terrorist acts being committed in other countries that also affect the U.S. And that domino effect. So, as we've seen in the past with the U.S. military killing Osama bin Laden in Barack Obama's presidency, there are key roles that the U.S. plays in stopping terrorism with the military presence in the Middle East. Secondly, the U.S. can support alliances with the military present in the Middle East, so there are alliances with Israel, Saudi Arabia, and the Iraqi government. Third, the U.S. military presence deters other major powers from capitalizing on economic and security benefits through their own networking and connecting in the Middle East. So big powers such as China and Russia, if the U.S. is present, it prevents them from moving in and fulfilling their own desires that can then domino. And then fourth, secure economic interests in containing emerging countries. So the U.S. military is present. This links a little bit to the third point, but we can secure our own, and we meaning the U.S., can secure their own economic interests by being physically present there. And one thing I do want to note is that this argument is difficult because the deaths of our fellow Americans, and there is nothing that justifies a life lost. But I do want to note that since 2006, 4,500 U.S. military service members have died, and the large majority of these deaths were in the 2000s. So that 2006, 2007, 2008 period of time, and since then it has gone drastically down. And this 4,500 U.S. military service members, this statistic is in overseas combat. And and I also want to note that technology advancing in the military can lead to less deaths as well. So that is hopeful in having a presence, that it could mean that less people die. Even with them being present in the Middle East. So overall, the Middle East holds very important significance and resources and religious historical significance, and also that connecting point between Europe, Africa, and Asia. And the U.S. military presence secures the U.S. Access to those resources, and also a prominent prevention of terrorism from the Middle East. Thank you. I'd love to hear any rebuttal or feedback.